incredible. This is Carolyn Zahnow?
Zahnow,
I'm sorry. Thank you all for coming. It's a Monday night and it's beautiful and sunny out and maybe people are just cooking out, but we're having more fun, right? Well, not.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, we will. We'll have fun.
So when you wrote this book, how many years ago?
2010 was when it was published. So when did I write it? It takes a while to write a book, you know?
Some people can do it like in no time.
Well, when it rips at your heart, no.
Yeah, there's a lot of information here, a lot of statistics too. So you needed to be thorough, and you needed to learn and probably experience what you were going through.
Yep.
Was it cathartic to do that?
It was. I have a second book that I can't reach back in and finish right now, which is, I want to.
I'll give you a deadline. Seems to work for some people.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. So
we get the beach would help. That's where I write.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. At the beach. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. So your sister told you start journaling when you were going through all this, and that's what you started.
Yeah.
That's when you started writing a book, and you had a completely different career before this. What were you doing?
Let's see. Okay. Well, back in Texas, I worked at Nokia, the main headquarters, and it was in Irving. So I was. I can't remember what. I was like administrative assistant. I was communication, internal communication, and event planning. And then we moved here. I worked at a think tank, but doing the same similar things. Now I guess I still do similar things, but it's with a passion and to help people.
And it makes a difference, and you are making a difference too. So tell us a little bit about Cameron was growing up. Your ex-husband had left.
Yes.
And just not your choice.
Oh no.
But he had some demons.
Which one?
Your ex-husband.
I don't know that he had demons really. No, he had girlfriends. That was the problem.
All right. Well, sometimes
he was a musician.
My mother always told me they never grow up. So
it's probably true.
But he was adopted. Correct?
He was adopted.
And
How do you know all this stuff?
I read the book.
Well, I didn't read that today.
So his mother had issues.
Oh,
his adopted mother had a lot of issues.
Yes. And they actually adopted him when he was a baby. So she had like schizophrenia or something, and she didn't want to take her meds, and
which is a big sign of schizophrenia too, because they miss the highs and the lows and the voices and the way it feels. You know. So that's an addictive personality also.
Right. Yeah. But his dad was a minister, and I learned a lot from him. It's amazing because he would go to funerals and he would smile. I'm like, God, that's weird. But now I do the same thing because it's okay when someone dies. You know, they've gone on to a better place.
I have a different way of looking at it also like that too. You know, and we're blessed to have known them. Because some people kind of trail out of your life, but if people's been in your life and they really mean something to you, you're really lucky to have them.
Exactly, you're right.
So that probably just makes me feel better. But,
no,
you know.
It's true though, it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you're kind of selfish. Well, they're not here with me anymore. Well, yeah, I know, but.
Yeah, they're not in pain, they're not.
No, exactly. And people who die by suicide, they're in pain too, mental pain.
They are, and there's such a stigma about mental illness. It's not something that anybody would choose to do, and it's like diabetes or breaking an arm or a leg. People get fixed for that. It's not like, oh, just snap out of it, listen to the radio, go for a walk, which helps.
Oh yeah, it does.
But that's not the answer, you know. And when you look back in a lot of family trees and you see alcoholism and you see like that self-medication was going on.
Oh yeah.
With violent mood swings or whatever, there was probably some mental illness back then.
Yeah.
So.
Because an addiction's a mental illness.
It is, and it's self-medicating to make yourself feel a little better. So
Yeah.
So did you learn that after the fact, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I do remember reading today. I looked at this again. Every time I look, I'm like, God, that's a good book. That when I took my son to go see therapists, they never did a family. It's not autopsy. It's a family background.
Family history to find out that you did.
Yeah,
you know?
my grandfather died by suicide. Another grandfather had an addictive personality. Well, I mean, he was an alcoholic. So, and who else? I mean, actually, and with my ex being adopted, there's no telling. But I look back at pictures of him, I'm like, how come he's never smiling?
So, how is your faith in the mental health industry?
It's not very good.
No. I worked in mental health for a little bit, and I have to tell you, some of the people I was working with needed more help than the patients. So it's like
I think a lot of people get in it for that reason.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And which is sad. I know, I tell people, you know, like, you need to find somebody you're comfortable with. Because there's a lot of people out there that are doing it because they're good at it, and they've just gotten bitter, or whatever they've turned over the years because they just see the same thing. And insurance is terrible right now. It's a really hard field to be in. And if you need help yourself, that's even harder. So
you have to find the right person.
You do.
I was lucky. I just happened upon the right people, I guess.
And you're a good source for information for people also. Right. Because you now run the Shore Grief Center.
I do.
Which you do some wonderful things. Because I had a friend in common with you that went to you, and he's like, she does miracles. So
Miracles.
he said that, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
A lot of parents say that after I've had their kids in a group.
He didn't have kids, but yes. So you got to feel good.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. So your son was growing up, and your ex-husband died when he was 15.
Yes. Ooh.
Trauma.
Yes.
Plus the divorce that you had gone through, and you had moved from Raleigh to Texas.
Well, the divorce was so long ago that didn't matter to him. You know, I made sure he knew his dad over the years. He actually lived with his dad for several years. Because I felt, well, that was before I met my current husband. I'm like, well, he needs some kind of father figure. I'm like, oh, he's got a father.
Yeah.
So I let him live with him for a while. So I think that was good. I went back to college, and that was even better for me. You know, I broadened my horizons that way. And when I met my current husband, Dan, Cameron was 5 years old. So they knew each other for a really long time.
And he was a good source of being that fatherly person to him also, right?
Right. Of course, you know, there's the whole stepdad issue. It's just
an
never
issue
the
with
same.
parents.
I know, in general.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
So
right.
I have 2 teenagers, and they're great kids, but I remember being a teenager, and it's hard, and you think, like, high school's the end of the world, somebody doesn't like you one day, and you're never going to get out of it, you're never going to go forward.
Right, it's hard.
And I think a lot of people still feel like that in middle school, high school, and going forward. To watch your kid, you don't know, you kind of walk that tightrope. Is something going on with them?
Right.
They tell you, yeah, nothing's fine, I just want to be left alone. So I know there's not a magic switch or a magic 8-ball that tells you, yes, your son needs more help, or yes, he doesn't. You did the right things. You got him into therapy, you talked to him, you restricted some things.
Rehab, everything.
Yeah.
I remember grounding him once for, I don't remember, who knows for what. So, you know, he had no electronics, the computer went away, his phone went away. He was in his room reading and loved it.
And what do you say to that?
You can't take the books away from him.
But he was home and he was safe.
He was, you're right.
Yeah. So he went through depression after his dad died, and plus being 15, those hormones are raging.
Right. Yeah.
And it's all a mess, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's a bad age.
But he started self-medicating with
He did.
marijuana and alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol, then it moved to meth. That was his drug of choice.
Yeah. That's scary.
And I love it when someone told me once, oh, people don't die from doing meth. Really? Because it makes you paranoid, and I think that's what happened to him. He got really paranoid.
You know that drug addicts are making the meth too. It's not like they're like chemists doing this in a lab, like, I'm going to make sure everything's safe. No. There's no government interference there.
No,
so
it's bad.
To think people...
And it's still out there. It's crazy.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Of course, now, if I redid the book, I would have to do a whole chapter on heroin overdose, you know, because that's...
And it happens to everybody. It's not poor people. It's not black people.
Same
it's
with
not...
meth.
Exactly.
It's
None of
everybody.
those drugs. I mean, I went to a Catholic school, and you probably have heard, like, people in Catholic school, they have perfect data. There's no teen pregnancies, there's no drug overdose.
Sure.
Yeah, because everybody gets paid off, you know, like, they take care of it that way.
I had a friend who went to Catholic school, and
yeah, sometimes the problems are more because people are actually not talking about them and not seeking the help, and, you know, that happens a lot, too. That must be frustrating for you to see. You know, like, do you see other people, like, with their friends and their kids going through something?
Actually, you know, I substitute teach now in middle and high schools. And I figure, you know, after a while you start seeing the same kids, and that's what I like. So if I see a kid sort of on the edge, then maybe I can, you know, be friendly to them and, you know, oh, hey.
Just a sounding board.
Yeah, just be there for them. You know?
Sometimes it's easier for a stranger to be nicer to a kid than his parents, because kids think that their parents want them to be perfect, and I never wanted my kids to be perfect, just happy and safe, and you know, but I don't think kids always understand that.
Well, someone pointed out to me, I remember I was speaking at Cary High School, that, you know, it doesn't have to be the parent that the kid trusts, a mentor. It can be a cousin, an uncle, a neighbor, anybody.
Yeah.
As long as they talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be the parent. I mean, sure, the parent usually like, they're going to talk to me. Well, it doesn't matter. As long as you're keeping them alive, that's what matters.
And a lot of kids will think too, like, oh, they don't understand me. It's like, well, I do, you know, and
I've been there.
yeah, and it is different.
It is.
But I think the feelings are still the same, and we still go through the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't have cell phones back then, which thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, the same feelings are still there, the same insecurities, the same fears. So I wish they would understand. And they also do MRIs on kids at this age, and their decision-making skills are way off. And it's almost comparable to a 2-year-old. So just a 2-year-old's decision-making skills are better than a 15 to 17-year-old.
Yeah, I scare parents and go, well, their brain really doesn't mature until they're 25. What? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just fingers crossed.
I know. Can you imagine, like, 40
we
years ago,
way.
people were getting married at 18.
Yeah, I was 19 when I got married. But, you know,
yeah.
we were friends, so we got married.
Yeah.
We had fun.
And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
It worked for 13 years, so
yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I know.
So, how did you find out your son was doing meth? And
okay, the drug thing. Let's see. We would just find little things, and then, you know, the questionable friends would come over. It's like, who is that? I've never seen him before. And then when my dog was barking at one a whole lot, I'm like, he must, you know, the dog knew something. These guys were heavy into pot. I think that's not that bad, but it usually does lead to something else.
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, the reasons people are using pot too, it's not just because, hey, people can use pot as a crutch or like something to calm themselves down and not fixing the problem of anxiety.
And that's what Cameron would tell us. Well, y'all just need to go smoke some pot and just chill. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, let me do that while I'm going to work. I'm just going to smoke a joint and, you know, operate on somebody.
No problem.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah. But
we just found different little things in his room, and we would find little baggies. That's what they would sell meth in. He would, here's one. And he had his own bathroom. I found a Coke can once that was, what was it? It had holes in the top of it. So he would smoke whatever via that. That was one way. I mean, I used to, they found the little baggies, like, what's this? And then he would hide them. That's the way addicts are. They hide stuff really, really good. Or just really bizarre places.
Yeah, they make it hard to find out.
Well, yeah, they don't want us to find out.
And you never think, I mean, you're smart because you realize what was going on, but some people don't want to. Like, my baby would never do that. My child would never skip school. Yeah, you do. It's like playing detective.
Yeah, I remember.
They don't have baby showers for this, do
they? No, we told him once, okay, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm like, clean all that stuff out of your room, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, then we'll know whether or not you're still using drugs. So, yeah, it didn't last long.
So you have some statistics, and I can't say that word, statistics, in here. And I know this book is older, but it's still startling.
It's still probably similar.
Yeah, which is sad. Yeah. So why don't people get help? What was one of the main reasons that people don't get help? Not the main reason.
Because they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
You mean for mental illness? You know, depression. They're just embarrassed, or they think it'll go away, or they don't think it's them. It's like it's nothing. Well, now there's probably insurance issues too, though.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I can't afford that, even though there are other ways to go get help. It's just too hard to slow down.
Too,
yeah.
You know?
Right.
But again, I think people are embarrassed about it.
They are.
You know, like, oh, you look at the crazy person that walks the streets, and you're like, I'm not them. No, you're not them.
But
there's a little bit something off, and for different times of our life, when you're growing as much as you are, the serotonin and everything else can be off, or you're not eating right, and you're not sleeping right, and drug use. You did talk a lot about that too, like some of the major things that will show you what a depressed child will do, and it's sleeping, like
either too much or not enough. Just not a normal whatever.
And kids at that age need 9 hours of sleep.
Right.
Not sporadically.
Yeah,
like not in class
I'm
for an
gonna come
hour.
home and take a nap. really? That's gonna kind of mess you up later.